Welcome, everyone. I'm Bonita from Pennies to Dollars, and we are finally getting some decent weather here in Kansas. It is 65 today. It is sunny. It is supposed to be in the 90s this weekend. I'm not sure if it will stay, but it's time to get going on the garden, check out what seeds we have, and get some things planted. Now, even if you live in an apartment or a tiny home, I encourage you to get something going in some pots, sit them near some windows, and grow some of your own food. It not only helps your mental health, but it also just brings a little bit of fresh organic food to your table. And I love the feeling of knowing that I'm growing some of my own items that I would normally spend my nickels, dimes, and pennies on. So let's get started checking out the seeds we have.
Hi, I'm Bonita and I am early retired. I'm not old enough yet for Social Security. I'm living on a low income and I am living off of savings. I live in Kansas on a farm and I have a donkey. This is Brownie. I have frugal videos all year round, and I hope that you will join me this year as we share ways to save money and live our dreams.
So let's take a look at the seeds that I have on hand. I have eggplant. I have several type of tomato plants. I have these fireball tomatoes, beefsteak tomatoes. I have some large cherry tomatoes and some more beefsteak. Last year we did pretty good with tomatoes. I always would like to do better though, because you can do so much with them and we really love them. And then I have some cucumber seeds. Last year I planted these, which are more like the ones that go in your salad. And honestly, I didn't pay attention to the ones that said national pickling. So I picked up some national pickling ones this year to make more of our hot, spicy pickled cucumbers. We really liked those. I also have a daughter and son-in-law that really like those. I have some kale, some cabbage, and I saw that guy growing it in the South, and he did such a magnificent job. I planted some last year, nothing worked. I'm really hoping to get some because we have started eating cabbage since prices have gotten so high in a lot of dishes, and we really are enjoying it. Summer squash, this usually does pretty well, so I will be planting that. I also have some cauliflower. Again, tried to plant that last year, nothing happened. Carrots, I planted those last year, didn't get one carrot. I also got some spinach this year, and I got some broccoli, which I tried to plant last year, nothing happened. And I got some corn this year. So I spent $1.25 on adding to the seeds that I already have, with a few things that I didn't have. And I wanted to get some parsnip seeds. I saw them last year, couldn't find them this year. And then I have a few of my self harvested cucumber seeds that I'm going to replant. I've had really good luck with drying my own seeds. I also have a whole bunch of zucchini seeds. If you noticed, I didn't purchase any because I harvested my own that I will be planting. And this is all of the lettuce seeds that I let bolt and then I let them dry and then I harvested those after our lettuce season. So I don't need any lettuce seeds. Look how great that is. Tons of lettuce seed. I'm so excited. And then I have all of these green pepper seeds that I have harvested and dried. So I didn't buy any pepper seeds because I have plenty. And then I just store my seeds in these cool little baggies that I get from the pharmacy whenever I get my meds filled. They work great for so many things, but I've been using them for my seeds. I also have a ton of flower seeds, and pollinators are so important for a lot of things to be able to grow the fruit that you need. I had a little tiny bee in Texas. I think he's the reason that I had 9 peppers on my pepper plant when I brought him home. They were just going wild. And this little bee would come faithfully every day. And I really give him credit for pollinating my peppers. But I have a bunch of things. Marigolds are supposed to help as pollinators. I also have daisies. I have forget me nots. We had these as a kid. I love these. More daisies. We used to go up as a kid and pick these from the pasture. That's why I have such a fond memory of daisies. Bachelor buttons. We also had those as a kid. I love bachelor buttons. Morning glories. I planted some of these last year. They did fabulous along the fence line. I'm going to wait and see if they come back up on their own. But if they don't, I do have two more packages. Another pollinator mix. I'm not sure where I got these. Some cosmos, some wildflowers, another flower garden mix, some more white daisies, some zinnias, some other wildflowers. I just have a ton of these. I just have not had luck with them coming up. And some more wildflowers. And then these sunflowers, they give these out for free at the state fair each year. Last year, I made a lot of dandelion bread. And I picked all of the heads off of the dandelions. But now look, I have a huge dandelion patch. And these are great pollinators as well. Since I live in the country, I don't have to worry about anybody judging my yard and saying, oh my gosh, she has dandelions all over her yard. They're going to blow into mine. It doesn't matter. So I have a great pollinator patch that is just right here. The heads on the dandelions that grew this year are so much bigger than last year too. You can dry these and make cookies. You can make dandelion wine. You can pull up the roots and make dandelion coffee. There are so many self-sufficient ways to use your dandelions. Now they do work as a diuretic, so if you have a diuretic that you take already, you do need to be cautious about that.
It is such a beautiful day in Kansas. My husband and I decided to walk up to our fishing ponds for a little bit and just enjoy the sun. In the dead of summer, it is much hotter up here than it is in our yard. We have a lot of shade in our yard, and even Brownie thinks it's a gorgeous day, and he is back in the pasture where he belongs.
Here are my pallets that I set up with an old twin bed spring over the top so that the cats wouldn't use it as a litter box. This is one of the reasons I love coming home in the summer to Kansas, is because I love planting. And the weather here in the summer is really nice. In the summer I do a lot more things with my kids and my grandkids, and I have all of this area here that I can set up for my plants, including my new pot that I picked up from El Disco that will go out here and maybe have a tomato plant in it. Of course, I love my clotheslines and my clothesline poles. One of my favorite things to do is hang clothes on the line. I was still hanging them in Texas, but I was using my drying rack. Here, I can hang them outside, and it is just so relaxing.
Sometimes I get the question of, why don't you just move to Texas if you like it down here? Why go home at all? Well, I hope this video helped answer some of those questions. Some of my kids are in Kansas. Some of my grandkids are in Kansas. I love my property. I love the freedom that I have here because I'm not in the city. No one's telling me to spray weed killer on those dandelions, and I can use all of these mismatched things that I use to plant my stuff, and it just goes with kind of the feel of the farm life. I have two old bathtubs. I use my bird bath. I have some pots. I use those pallets. I have a lot of roots in my yard because of all of the trees. So here I can just make it my own, and I can really sit out there and just enjoy it without any rules. And that's one of the things I love about being here. Plus, I love my clotheslines. I probably sound crazy that I love hanging clothes on the line, but many of you have mentioned to me that you enjoy it as well. Using the dryer just isn't as much fun for me. I don't like having to go when it buzzes and have to stop what I'm doing and fold everything so it doesn't wrinkle. Out there, if I don't get to it right away, I know it's not going to wrinkle. It's hanging, it's straight, and it is going to be there whenever I can get to it. Another thing I love about being out here in the summer and being retired is I can do this stuff at my own pace. A lot of you know I have a lot of back pain, so I have to do it in little tiny increments as I feel like I am able, and then I stop when I'm hurting. When I was working, I just didn't have the time and energy left over to do some of these things that are now my hobbies. I had not planted in years until I started making plans to retire. And then I started thinking about gardening again and how I missed that and how I really enjoyed it when I did it. And why did I stop doing it? It was just a lack of time and energy. Now I can focus my time and energy on the things that I enjoy that are frugal, and those things help our household. So if you've been thinking about how can I contribute to my household? How can I save some money here and there? How can I be more frugal? I want to get started. Think about some of the frugal things you could do and pick some of the ones that are your favorite. Not everything is a drudge. Not everything is something that you are just putting yourself through it to save some money. Not everything is a sacrifice. Some of these things are really fun and rewarding. And I think people forget that sometimes when they want to start being more frugal and save money. They think that being frugal is something that's really going to put them out and make their life upside down. But it really can be enjoyable if you pick some of these things that you enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you a little bit of incentive or inspiration to grow some things this year and see if you enjoy it also as a hobby. Thanks for listening today, and I hope to see you in the next video.